Here's a 2007 Mazda 3. We are going to be replacing the thermostat on it. So this is a OEM part from Mazda. Comes with the housing, the thermostat, and the gasket in here. Let's go ahead and install this. Your Mazda may or may not have the belly pan under here. Mine does. So it's a couple 10mm bolts all the way around, and this should drop right out. Alright, ended up taking the front belly pan plastic piece off too. This one happened to be zip tied one spot. I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to dang it out of the way. And here is the petcock. We're going to use a flathead to twist this loose. While the coolant's draining, you can take the cap off to get it draining faster. Now let's take off the serpentine belt because we need to remove the tensioner to get to the thermostat, which is directly under it. So it's 14 will work, I guess. I'll do that. I'll need another hand to shove the belt off. Now for the tensioner, I see three 12mm bolts, and we'll just go ahead and pop them off. They seem to be on there pretty good. So that's the top one, and then there's two down here. And the tensioner comes out just like that. Now something I've been learning to do is measure your bolts when they come out. Sometimes they're not always the same length, so it matters where they came out. You gotta put them in the same spot. These happen to be the same length, so we're good. But just to make sure I don't lose where they go, I'm just gonna toss the bolts in. And that's how I know these bolts go with the tensioner. Now this is the void where the tensioner was. So we can see down here is our thermostat. So it has a hose, a smaller hose, and then the main hose that goes to the bottom of the radiator. These clamps have been replaced. They're not the factory style, so these are warm style. We can get a flathead, take them off, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now before I forget, I went ahead and threw a couple rags right on top of the alternator because we're going to disconnect the radiator hose that goes right above the alternator. We don't want that leaking into the alternator and damage our alternator. So I put the radiator drain back in, have my drain pan moved. Now let's move this out and let's see how big of a mess we make. Okay. Just about nothing spilled out. That is good news. Now the smaller hose. This one's on there a little bit. Now when hoses are stuck on their plastic parts, best way to break the seal is to twist them. So I'm probably going to get some pliers, twist them like you're tightening or loosening. That breaks the seal, and then they pull right off. Alright, hose is removed. Now I can see two bolts for the thermostat housing that need to be undone. They look like either 8s, maybe 10s. Now, good double check you can do is take the new part, compare the bolt holes. So I can see two, which are these top two, but there's a third down to the bottom and the right. So that means there's a bolt hole somewhere down here on the right side that I can't see that we're going to have to fish and feel for. Alright, the 3 bolts are off. Comes right off. And good thing we got the bucket because it is making a mess. This is the old. Here's the new, here's the old. This was a Motorrad. If we take a look on the thermostat side, you can really see the differences. So just the design of the thermostat's completely different. And this one has these plastic clips. Now, the aftermarket thermostats on these cars are known for given issues where they can get stuck in one spot, and I'm wondering if it's because of this design with the plastic clips. It's a little bit bulkier. This one's a little taller, but I don't think that one matters. But it is definitely, this is definitely way bulkier because these small rings kind of have a curve while this is just flat. Now to get to the bottom bolt, go from underneath, and then it is just right over here, just above this stud that you see, and there it is. I can't really show it on camera, but it's there. Okay, got the 3 bolts in. Tighten them evenly. You don't want to tighten one side and then get to the others. Just do it evenly in stages. Now we are going to put the radiator hoses back on. So the big lower rad hose, and then whatever this bypass hose goes to. Now as I was saying, mine has these worm style clamps where you just put a flathead or 8mm in. And the factory one was a spring-loaded one. Those are much harder to work with and deal with. That's why I'm kind of happy that this is there. So we'll be able to just slide these on and then take a flathead and tighten them down. There we go. Let's do the top one. Alright, got the jack stands out. Left the jack up on this side. That way, this, where we fill the reservoir, is for sure the highest point to get all the air out, just to help bleeding. So we're filling it up with coolant. We got the engine running. We got the heater on full blast. Let's just keep topping this off till the thermostat opens. Took a while, lots of revving, but the thermostat finally opened. So we went from basically over full to now we are probably on the minimum side. So we're gonna top it off just a little bit extra. Now remember, we only disconnected, or we only drained the coolant from the radiator and the lower hose. So there's still coolant in the engine, there's still coolant in the upper radiator hose. So that's why it didn't all take that much. We added about a gallon and we lost about a gallon. And there we go, we have the thermostat installed. This is the old one, obviously. We are good to go. It should be bled. This is a mostly self-bleeding system, but leaving it jacked up like that should hopefully get all the air out. And you want to do that until the thermostat opens, so that way it goes into the engine and pushes the other stuff out, and it helps get all the rest of the air out. But I think we're good now. The only thing left to do is drive it, but that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.